Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Crooked Smile podcast brought to you by Macromedia. I'm Cam, joined by Johnny.
Hi everyone.
And today we have on Joel Kandiah, aka The History of Money, as a premier guest on our very own podcast.
Yeah, we have a great chat coming up about economics, finance at a base level, but also collecting money, the history of money, story around money, the future of money and hard currency. And we even get into an interesting discussion about an international currency similar to the Eurozone. So
We get into his origin story, how he became obsessed with money,
hard quiz,
his appearances on
on
Hard
ABC.
Quiz, appearances,
another reappearance coming up later this year. So you have to stick around to hear about that.
but some very valuable insights on
Great
what he
stuff.
does and
Financial
about
literacy.
financial literacy and the future of money.
Yeah, and teaching mediums, learning mediums when it comes to that sort of stuff, and maybe where social media can become a tool, a more effective tool in teaching young people financial literacy.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's get on to the show.
Let's get into it.
Joel, thank you so much for being
Mr.
here.
Kandiah.
Thank you for joining
Oh,
us.
no.
How's it going?
Joel.
Good. Thanks for having me, boys. Great to see you both again.
Our
Great to see
first
you too.
big celebrity?
Really?
Yeah, well, 120 or 30 now.
130 on TikTok and 72,000 on Insta.
There you go.
Big 200K.
Step up from Varad last week.
Poor Varad.
There you go.
Varad, if you're watching.
Sorry, Varad. We've moved
Sorry,
on. We've forgotten about you.
Anyways, so generally we like to start with some rapid fire questions.
go on.
Really just fire off.
I'm a bit scared, but let's go.
All right. If you could buy one thing in the world with money, what would it be?
Oh. You know what's weird? It's a BMW X5. Because when I was in university, Matthew Pavlich went to university the same time as I did. And you always saw his car there. And it was a BMW X5. It was like, I've always wanted one. But not white like he had. I would have a nice black BMW
Well,
X5.
I would have chose world peace, but each to their own.
You can't buy world peace, Campbell.
Each their own.
Also, Matthew Pavlich, an idol of yours? Or
Yeah, Freo fan.
Oh.
Freo fan.
That's a shame. Anyway. Who would play you in a movie?
I don't know. That's. I've never thought about that.
Tough question.
That's a really
Zach
tough one.
Galifianakis.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah,
I
let's go
don't
with
mind.
that.
Let's
Okay.
go with that. That's
Yeah.
brilliant. That's brilliant.
Woolworths or Coles?
Woolies.
What's your favorite money related song? Money related song.
Money, Money, Money by ABBA. No, hands down.
Yeah, great
Easy.
song. Great song.
What's the
Yeah.
worst detention you've ever handed out?
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Okay.
All right, and this will segue into our first discussion of the day. But do you think there will ever be a day where cash is no more, where cash is redundant, and how far in the future do you think that would be?
I'm going to say no, but I'm going to say cash will still have a role, but nowhere near to the amount of usage that we had 10 years ago.
Okay, but almost from a symbolic side of things, and probably
symbolic,
always still.
probably.
So do you see society moving towards a cashless society?
I don't think we'll ever be 100% cashless.
Yeah,
I think at the moment, 13% of transactions in Australia are cash, which is
Okay.
scary compared to 10 years ago was around pushing 35, 40%. And even 15 years ago was around 70%. So the proliferation of, I guess, cashless payments, so, PayWave, PayPass, online banking, Osco, like now we can just transfer people money to someone directly within seconds. It's a great way that the RBA and other financial institutions have worked around it. But unfortunately in Australia, the financial institution setup is dominated by the big four banks.
yeah,
So when you've got that much market share, you've got that many customers, you can force them upon to them what they want, rather than saying, oh no, consumer preferences have changed and they want digital banking, they want this. It's not so much that it's been the banks pushing it on, it's not governments pushing it on either, it's the banks that have been driving it. So the biggest issue here for banks is holding cash is a cost because they don't generate interest revenue on it. There's a cost of transporting cash. There's a cost of maintaining ATMs, having more tellers and all that kind of thing. So firstly, let's try to start automating that cash handling process. So smart ATMs were the first thing. So depositing cash into an ATM, getting change from change machines is another thing. But then they realized, mobile phone payments and all, let's try and proliferate that even further. And then COVID on top of that, where cash was deemed to be unsafe to hold because
unhealthy.
due to the transmission of disease. Even though down the track it showed polymer banknotes transferred less than regular paper banknotes. So Australia were still relatively safe anyway. But because in Australia we already had a high usage of digital payments, at that point was around 70%. That just sort of proliferated that even further. And so the driving for a cashless society is one more so driven by the banks rather than governments themselves. So the Treasury put out a working paper last year and they said, we want cash to be available for those who continue to demand it. So the RBA, the Royal Australian Mint, is the only self-funded government agency at the moment. They make all the money from producing the nation's coins and also selling collected coins and also making coins for other countries as well. So if people stop demanding cash and coin collecting dies completely, there's not going to be a Royal Australian Mint anymore on that. So it's actually in the government's best interest to still maintain some sort of cash being used because there's also an amount of jobs that also depend on either from Note Printing Australia to Reserve Bank and the Royal Australian Mint. So we're probably going to see a flat line of digital payments. I'd say we're probably going to hold at 90%.
Yep.
But I think the purpose of cash has transformed from a transactional purpose, so going to the shops and using your 5s and 10s and 20s, but more so a store of value. So we've actually, even though the number of $10 notes have fallen in the last 6-7 years in circulation, the numbers of 50s and 100s in circulation have risen quite significantly. We've gone from $72 billion of notes in circulation right up to $100 billion notes in circulation. And that's because cash is now being used as a store of value. Especially during COVID when inflation was very low, interest rates were very low, there was no incentive to store your money in the bank. So you're not earning any money of it, and people didn't know what COVID was going to do. So a lot of people were taking large amounts of money out. There was a report by the RBA that was done in 2021 saying people were withdrawing up to $2 million in cash from the bank and then hoarding in the house. So imagine just
going back every day and taking out their daily
or just like going to the bank, make a pre-order. Hey, can I withdraw $2 million? Yep, cool. Come back next week. We'll have that ready for you.
Worried the financial institutions were going to collapse. I guess that's it.
Which was a fair assumption. It was something that people who in this generation has not really anyone in this living world at the moment hasn't really gone through a pandemic of that size, because the Spanish flu would have been
1929 with the Great Depression.
There you go. So no one has really experienced that. Very small proportion of the population would have experienced that.
Yeah.
So there was some fear, and we saw asset prices rise. We saw housing prices and still rising. We saw Bitcoin rising quite significantly, gold rising. So people are like, oh, how do we keep our value and store value from that? So cash moving forward is going to be a thing of store of value, even though inflation is still relatively high at the moment. People are still hoarding cash rather than using cash. If you look at the amount of cash that's in circulation, the RBA estimates 50% of that is being hoarded in homes, in under beds, dug under in grounds and all that kind of thing.
Campbell's drug money.
Drug money only really makes about 4%. Illegal activities only makes up about 4% of cash, yeah. So usually the people will overstate the usage of cash. The legal activity component is well overstated. So
but how could you track the legal component?
Well, there's a variance. So the RBA saying that in that study they did in 2022, it's about 4 to 6% is about illegal activity. So there's still a bit of variance.
But surely, if there's like a Pablo Escobar of Australia and he's got all this money hoarded, no one knows how much money he's really got.
Who knows? I don't know. It's really hard to. I can't speculate on that.
I was going to ask that, and just almost as a thought, not experiment, just a thought. It's crazy to think about it. What we're actually transferring. When I send you money or send someone else money, you're just sending numbers on online banking. They're just nodes in a. It's crazy to think that. I don't know, that money's gotten to the point where it's not even a really I don't know. The act of transferring something
feels like it's not even real.
Sending.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it, because I think it came down to a point where money used to be backed by gold, silver,
yeah.
And they got rid of the gold standard, and then that became the fractional banking system. So you could put $100 in the bank account, and the bank would lend out 80% of that, and then that person gets 80. Let's say you put in $100, $80 gets lent out. That $80 creates more economic activity. You deposit $80 in, $64 gets sent out again.
Yeah.
So what that initial 100 is creating, you've done economics.
The multiplier effect.
The multiplier effect. In a
one
way.
over MP, 1 over marginal propensity to save or something
Yes,
like
that's
that.
it. Correct. Yeah. So when you got that happening, and that's why all that money sort of is created out of nowhere, because it's the fractional reserve system of the banks in itself. So the government's then put a minimum amount. Okay, you must store an X amount percentage of all deposits, because not everyone wants their money back straight away.
Yeah.
If I put $1 million in the bank, I don't want my $1 million straight away. I want to expect to have access to it, but not everyone wants access to it. The only time that's going to screw you over is that if there's a bank run or there's a major financial crisis or whatever.
The Silicon Valley Bank,
That's
where
it,
everyone
exactly.
wanted their money and they couldn't,
And that's the biggest downside of a fractional banking system from there.
Joel, clearly you know a lot about money,
Yep.
There you go.
as you've just
And as you can tell from the
displayed,
jumper,
as you can tell by the jumper as well. But
sweet jumper.
what is the origin story of this? Where has this come from? How do you know so much about money?
How is it intertwined with your life?
With my life. It's weird. It's not, most people talk about coin collecting and notes and stuff because, oh, my grandparents handed over a collection or that kind of thing. Mine was weird. And it's hard to believe that I struggled to talk as a kid, which is weird that I'm a teacher and do talking as a job, essentially. And so my parents were concerned, wasn't talking. I wasn't mute, but I was just reluctant to communicate with anyone. So they took me to a speech pathologist in West Perth. And she laid out a range of stimuli right in front of me. And so one of them was a cash register and some play money. And I didn't notice at the time. I was like reading back a report, the speech pathologist report, when I was about maybe 10 or 12. I remember reading this whole thing and it said, there was a cash register and play money. I've gone straight to it and I just started talking. It was like just playing the money, tapping the things away, putting a till, like pretending giving change to my parents and all that kind of thing. And as my speech pathologist said, oh, we're onto something here. So my parents started got me like all these toys, and then they started giving me like different money currencies. So for example, like I remember one weird memory is like my parents gave me some paper money. If I'll show you here. This is my little banknote folder.
Oh, nice.
One of my banknote folders.
What's the value on that?
Not telling you. But I remember like they gave me this note. This is the old $100 note. Huge, right? It's huge. And I remember like I'd be playing with it, and then I put it on my pillow when I go to sleep, and then I would like cry in the morning because the money disappeared. But then like
The tooth fairy came.
Yeah, tooth fairy came, but it's like the reverse tooth fairy.
reverse
tooth fairy, you know?
And then they have a tooth underneath when you woke up in the morning. Like,
Yeah, we go, what?
That's not how it's supposed to work.
It's just like putting like a horse's head in your bed and just like scaring them, you know. No,
Well,
it's
the camera won't see because it's just a guess.
There you go.
You only have this
that
image,
links
but
in well with what you just said. But
people can speculate at home.
So yeah, and I started talking and communicating. My parents gave me foreign currencies, and my parents are Malaysian, so they gave me some Malaysian ringgit, and other people started giving me currencies to collect, and that's where my involvement with money came in. It was very young. It was weird because like coin collecting as a hobby was dying in Australia around that time. The 90s, the 2000s, no one really cared about it. I don't know why. It's just like supposedly the 80s was a very big boom period, and then just completely fell off a cliff in the 90s and 2000s, and the 2010s was a bit of a struggle town for the hobby. But I'd always collect, and I always loved collecting, and yeah, it's weird. And I've always been involved around money roles in my life. So I've been treasurer of my career club for the last 12 years. My parents ran a Malaysian restaurant for the last 16 years until last year before. And so I was always involved in the finances and all that kind of thing. And I think it's because my parents were always insistent in talking about money. And they'd always say, oh, hey, let's talk about this. Or what do you think about, when they bought a house, they'd talk about to us as kids, like this is what it means to buy a house, or this is what it means to have a credit card, or this is what it means to run a business. So I guess partly was from my perspective, from my own personal developmental stuff, was that part. But I think the other part is that my parents consistently made it a discussion. Like my parents worked hard when they migrated to Australia, didn't have too much, and it's always been the thing that money there's been a difference between frugal and being stingy. Mm-hmm. So being frugal is being smart with money and making your dollar stretch further rather than being stingy. My parents had very, very generous hearts. If someone needed money or there's something they needed, they wouldn't hesitate to give money for this or whatever they needed. So I guess from me and my journey and my story about money is that it's always been an open discussion point. And that's when I talk to people about money, you want to talk about money in the same vein as to talk about physical and mental health. We don't talk about financial health in that same vein from there. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I guess that's my story in a way.
And then you grew the passion to teach because you wanted to teach about money and financial literacy.
That's exactly. And I think that came part. So I was at UWA doing a Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Economics in that. And it was my last semester. And I was coaching junior cricket at the time. And we were around the nets, and one of the kids was talking about how they were trying to save money to buy a cricket bat, and they didn't know how to save it. And I was like, why are they teaching this at school?
Yeah.
Why are they talking about how to save money or how to find different sources of income or how to manage a budget? I was like, do you guys not learn this at school?
Yeah, right.
I was like,
Personal
no.
finance.
Yeah, personal. There's none. This would have been 2012. It's 12 years ago. And I was shocked. I was like, I could not believe that no one at school is teaching this. And then I thought about my schooling experience when I graduated in 07. Like, in the lead up, no one spoke about this. The only remotely financial thing we did was in year 10 where we signed our own we created our own tax file numbers. That was the only thing. We didn't get told why. We didn't get told what's the purpose of it. We didn't get told anything. It's just like, the government needs this. You need to sign it up. It's for you when you need a job. That's it. There's no discussion further than that. So yeah, I finished off my double degree and then went straight to Notre Dame, did my grad dip in education. And I majored in business studies, minored in humanities. And even then, I sort of came to realize there was no specific curriculum about personal finance anywhere. Not in humanities, not in mathematics. They'll claim, and the government has claimed, the state government especially has claimed, oh yeah, we teach personal finance. Like, you do not teach personal finance. There's nothing specific in your curriculum that teaches kids about budgeting, that teaches about risk, about investment, about personal financial management, any of that things at all. So calculating a PE ratio as part of your apps test or whatever does not count as personal finance. It just gives you a small insight without any context whatsoever. And I guess that's been my drive, and it's still my drive because it's a very hard thing to crack. And I had a bit of opportunity when I left Scotch where I did create a small program for year 11, but I left halfway through that to start at my new school. And I guess it comes down to the willingness of schools to now teach personal finance because there's no political will from the government's point of view to ensure that kids get the best of learning about personal finance at all. Okay. So that's the big journey that partly I'm trying to fight in a way, but also there's a lot of teachers and there's a lot of people outside of the education sector who feel it's very important that kids today need to really learn that stuff.
Well, that's interesting, and I was going to ask about curriculum, and obviously it's been in place for years and years, and it could be quite rigid and whatnot. But obviously, with the stuff you're doing on TikTok and Instagram, do you think in a world where attention spans are getting shorter, and you see it in China, where apparently their TikTok, while they're numbing the brains of the rest of the world with TikTok, in their TikTok, their algorithms are fixed to training, education, stuff, astronauts, stuff like that.
Well, they did a survey, and they asked all the boys, like young boys and girls in China, what they wanted to be when they grew up, and it was all like physicists, astronauts, professors, and then they did the same.
Not TikTok influencers.
They did the same in the States, and the answer was influencer.
Yeah.
So,
but do you think we could see a world where that almost comes into education, where those short, impressionable kind of educational videos, because unfortunately we are coming into a world where people can't pay attention for long periods of time.
Oh, that's part of it. But I think we also need to take advantage of that. Kids nowadays have access to information a lot earlier than what I did as a child.
True.
And then taking advantage of that situation and showing them, starting with short form videos and then giving them the tools to access from there. It's not so much changing the algorithm or trying to put more content out there. It's actually restructuring the system and getting governments to actually get off their butts and start doing something about it and making it more of a priority, and how to give people not just financial life skills, but life skills in general. How do we get kids to become more emotionally intelligent? How do we get students to be better critical thinkers and all that kind of thing? And so that all comes into play. So how do we have access? How do we manage the access of that information at a younger age and getting kids to redirect that for good, for the betterness of themselves and the betterness of the community as well? Because what we're seeing is that information is being found, but sometimes if they don't get the right guidance, they go down the wrong paths completely. And we've seen that, especially amongst teenage boys, what the consequences of that are in a poor sense if we don't get the good role models in place. So it comes down to restructuring the curriculum, getting government from buying that. It's longer than the political will of their short term, I guess the 3-year political cycle, whatever, and showing that there's a long-term benefit, not just for these kids, but for the economy in general. If you've got more informed people, and that applies to any subject, if you've got more informed people about the subjects that you're trying to teach them about, the benefits of society are going to be far greater. And so getting those two things is probably the most important part, and then getting the right people in front of the camera or in front of them. And there are a lot of amazing, the word is finfluencers now, and it's not a term that's been given by them, it's just given to them.
Yeah.
But they're really great people. There's amazing people like Natasha Etchman, Natasha Invests on Instagram. She's awesome. She's originally a Perth girl, but she's now over east. She does some amazing financial literacy stuff. And there's a whole bunch of those around that same sphere who give good short pieces of information, but also give people the tools to go and carry it further from there. So I guess overall, go back full circles. Yes, our attention spans are shorter, but we also got more access to more information than we ever had before. So how do we marry that up to give them the tools they need to learn more about it?
That's really interesting. And I've had this discussion with people who obviously, and older generations can push on the idea that Gen Z are just, or younger generations are just, so just lost with all this social media and as you say, they don't have the right role models and stuff like that. But you're right with the information. I feel like we're so well informed and we have the ability to learn about things if pushed down the right path. And even when you talk about just awareness in general of world events going on, I can't imagine anyone in Australia in particular having any knowledge about the Cold War while it was going on. Whereas now you've got the Ukraine war or Israel-Palestine. You're seeing stuff posted everywhere. You're seeing first-hand accounts. People are able to form opinions on real life videos and stuff that they're seeing. So I think that gets sometimes underrated how much or how aware that there's obviously people that are sheltered in the Gen Z. But I think I don't know. You're right with the information. We have all that information at our fingertips, and
it's just the barriers to entry in the institutionalized programs.
Exactly.
But so the way that works, would you say that's sort of the reason why the history of money was created, because you didn't have the barrier to entry in the educational system, so then you've tried to do it through social media? Or
it's weird because I didn't know what the history of money was going to look like when I started it. I remember just getting asked like, "Oh, so you're into TikToks?" It's like, "No, I'm into Tim Tams." And that was just originally my response. And so I had a look, be curious. I put a video about the history of the $5 note and
it
blew up. And I was like, okay. And then I didn't know what people wanted because I tried to experiment with financial literacy stuff, economic stuff, coin collecting stuff. And I think the biggest regret for me was not pursuing with the financial literacy stuff with history of money. It's just people want to know about coin collecting, note collecting. They was essentially what people want to know is, oh, I got to coin my change. Is it worth something? And I'm trying to change that narrative within coin collecting. So I guess with the history of money at the moment as it stands, my role is to change the perception of coin and banknote collecting, that it's a great hobby where you can meet awesome people, learn about the history, learn that it's more than a coin's worth X amount of dollars, but more so there's a history behind it and what the history is and the issues that present around it. So at the moment, I'm talking about the future of cash, for example, around my videos at the moment. But I guess there's other people out there that can also talk about financial literacy in that space. I think there's definitely space for it. I think maybe down the track, if things go successful, then I can maybe start something new.
Move towards
financial literacy. Have a different channel, or go partner up with someone, or partner up with a business and push that financial literacy stuff. Or, if a school wants to give me the opportunity, I can really drive a program within that and start within that community. And then if that program works, then I can expand that to other communities.
To the state.
It's an interesting niche though, because you'd think that there'd be lots of people that you're talking about, cash and the history of money. But obviously when you post the stuff about the $5 note, that's something new, that's something fresh that went viral because people hadn't seen something like that before.
Yeah, I think the generation I think the generation I was targeting, if you think about those people targeting, they don't use cash that much. They're like card, tap, swipe, whatever it is, go online banking is not so much. When I was growing up as a kid, cash was still the main deal. Like I didn't have my own debit card until I was 18 or 19. And then when I started working out my own first credit card. So that transition, like the millennial generation has seen that transition completely in technology, in payments, in a whole range of things. I think if you're born in that 85 to 97 range, you can adapt quite easily to what's happening now, but you also remember what it was like then. You got a new generations coming in now. It's just they've never seen that before. They've never seen cash in a physical sense. They didn't know what the story was behind it. They didn't know that this coin could be worth X amount of dollars. They didn't know that the person in this note represented that person. And it was a great opportunity. And we saw that I'm partly to blame for it, that the hobby has just exploded in the last 3-4 years. That, there was a coin release at the end of last year that there was a 1 kilometre line outside the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra for it. And, you know, I have my role to pay for it, and it's great. But also when something blows up, you get some great people, but you also get some terrible people who want to get involved. You know, get rich quick schemes, or, you know, the sneaker bots that come in when sneaker releases. The same issue happening in the coin collecting community as well. People get angry, people upset, people blame you for, oh, you made this popular, you ruined our hobby. I'm just like,
it's more educational though.
It's educational, and that's why I'm trying to be educational. I'm not trying to make this some hype train nonsense or whatever. It's
hype
like
beast Kandiah.
Yeah, no, it's more so if you want something that's meaningful and that has a lot of history behind it, that you can spend your time and you can build a community around it. That's what I'm trying to do in that space. So as part of me regrets not going down the financial literacy path. I think I've opened up something new that's allowed a lot of people to connect with other people. So meeting new people who are like-minded. You know, parents messaging me and saying, I've reconnected with my kid because my son's autistic and they're really into this. Or I've rediscovered my family's history because my grandparents have been keeping this for a while, but they never showed us. And so
That's awesome.
that's most of the reason why I do it, is to create these sort of genuine connections. And in a world where we're hidden behind our screens, we are commoditized, we are filtered down to profiles, especially like if you're online dating, you're swiping and you don't think about the person behind it. To create genuine connection and meaning behind people, or for people, for a means such as, you know, numismatics, the study of coin and banknote collecting, it's a real honor to have.
Yeah, online dating. I've sworn off it.
Yeah, I saw the sort of thing the other day. It's like, will Johnny find love in 2024?
Yeah, it's probably because I refused to
my
do
prediction,
online
you will.
dating.
Yeah, apart from the Morgan Freeman prediction you'd had.
Oh,
don't
that was really bad. No, we haven't had any success. We're how many days in? 28 days in.
You'll find love.
We're moving. No movement on that front, but it's okay.
The opportunities from the history of money have been quite
Fruitful.
fruitful, I would say. Yes. Well, you've been on the news.
I've been on the news quite a lot.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
And hard quiz.
Yes.
Hard quiz.
I've heard there could be a reappearance on hard quiz.
Yeah, that hard quiz thing. There's a person that we mutually know talked me into applying for hard quiz back in 2021.
Really?
Yeah, it was nearly 2 years from the time I applied to by the time my episode aired on TV.
And it's because they had that specific knowledge that someone was like, you need to, like, this is the perfect, because everyone, I don't know if
That's what History Money just sort of blew up at that point. It was like, and they're like, you need to apply for a hard quiz. And I was like, so I'm sitting at the OBH with these people. These are some staff members from Scotch East Work. And I'm just going through this half an hour long application form and just like writing everything in.
That is a hilarious coincidence, because I was sitting at the OBH and ABC was on television, and lo and behold, I see you on hard quiz and I go, what is going on? I'm like, oh, that's bizarre.
So what was that experience like?
It was amazing. It was incredible. So I'll go for it. So I applied for it. That was in March. In September, I thought, they didn't want to hear from me. They said, can you come in for can you do an audition? And that time COVID was so you couldn't fly to Melbourne or go into ABC Studios Perth to do an audition. So it was all through Zoom. So I hid in a classroom after school and did it was like a 40 question quiz, like a general knowledge quiz. And it was hard. Like
about
it was
money?
No, just anything.
Oh, okay. Right.
So there's probably about 50 of us from Perth in that same thing. And it was ridiculous. It was the hardest. And I'm a quiz night aficionado. I've won 8 quiz nights in a row at one point. I'm the king.
Quiz night local legend.
Where is your favourite quiz night? What's the...
Fat Brew Club in West Perth.
Fat Brew Club.
Wednesday night, 6 p.m.
Is that Ducks Nuts? Do they run that?
No, it's... what's the other... I can't remember the name of it.
Okay.
But I'm not saying because my mates is a partner in the brewery. That's why I'm shouting it out. That's why.
Okay. Shout out
Fat Brew Club.
Sponsorship.
Yeah.
Please sponsor us.
Please sponsor
we need
us.
money.
Talking about money, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like I swear to God, I probably got the first 15 questions wrong. And it was all science based. I was like, I have no idea about any.
And then the hot streak began.
The hot streak actually did begin. I'm pretty sure I got the next 25
times
right.
multiplier.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So that was it. And then they got an email saying, "Hey, can you do your face-to-face sort of group interview?" So that was about 2 weeks later on a Saturday morning, and it was about 16 of us, and they paired us into groups of 4. Online and they treated it like the show. So it's like, and then who can buzz in and answer the questions? So buzz, whatever. Great. Right. That was all done. I did okay. I think someone just gone faster than me, and then I got mine right, and they say, yep, cool, you're good. On Hear History Speak, done. Then they asked about each of us individually about, okay, why your topic? And this was interesting because the guy before me, there's
some funny topics.
His topic was polymer banknotes.
Oh.
So like our plastic banknotes. I was like, wait a minute, because my topic was Australian currency. And so he's talking about this and that. I was like, there's a lot of gaps here is not addressed here. Ooh. He's not talking about the process. He's not talking about what the polymer being used on it. He doesn't talk about what countries have polymer technology or what the security features being used.
Get him.
So I was next. So
opportunity knocks.
Yeah. So the producer's like, oh, speaking of money, here's Joel about Australian currency.
Oh.
And I just gone the whole story. And
zing.
And I spent like 30 seconds like breaking down every aspect about polymer banknotes at that time.
So it's a rebuttal, basically.
How to
A
flex
rebuttal. I just flexed back. It's like this. It's like I'm a pretty humble person, but at that point I knew I had to sell myself.
Got to take your chance. Yeah.
If I want to be in hard quiz, I have to sell myself.
I'm the most humble person I know.
Let's not go there. And then the next part was, we'll call some people, won't call all of you. We just want to have a one-on-one discussion with you.
Yeah.
So you might have to wait up to an hour. So 10 minutes later, phone call. Oh, hey, Joel, this is the producer from the show. Love what you do. We're aware of your TikTok channel. Like this is just a formal. This is just like a, what's that term? It's like a
informal
vetting.
Okay.
No, not vetting. It's like it's a done deal. We're just going through the processes.
Oh,
you know?
right, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I guess in a way. And then sort of talking about your story. Then someone heard my story, and I said,
How did you feel in that moment when you got the call?
"Oh, so it was weird." So what happened was that we were cool. We'll email you later on. The email said, "Yep, cool. You're in the contestant pool." It doesn't say that you're on the show. So I was in the contestant pool in October 2021. October 21, I was in the contestant pool.
Yep.
I didn't get the call up until July 2022.
Ooh.
Oh, God. Okay.
And then,
saving you.
And then I didn't film until late August 2022. And then the episode didn't appear till March 2023. So I applied March 2021. The episode aired March 2023.
And after all that, how did you go?
Oh, that one.
No.
Is there going to be a reappearance?
There is a reappearance.
I feel like you
When
have
is this?
unfinished business.
There is
You got to
unfinished
come back
business.
and actually make it past the first round.
We'll see. We'll see. But being on the show was great. You don't meet Tom before the show.
Oh, okay.
So they fly to Melbourne, they pay for your flights, they pay for your accommodation.
Nice.
Was pretty cool. And then, because the accommodation's across the road from South Bank ABC, you walk across there, you meet the other contestants.
Yep.
And I'm still friends with two of them. There's one that was next to me that a lot of people didn't like.
Just came across badly online, but...
Yeah, I guess so. I think she was a nice enough person, but didn't really come across well on the show. On the
but the
episode.
other two...
The other two I'm still friends with.
What were their topics? Because I know there's some obscure
there's
topics.
Pugs,
Pugs.
Monsters Inc., and Frida Kahlo.
See, I love that. That's such a funny concept for a quiz
What would
show.
your specialty
Oh,
be?
yeah.
Gosh. Oh. Honestly...
Scotch
At the moment, Arctic monkeys or something like that, or
Taylor Swift. I would put him
no, because there'd be people with so much more knowledge.
He's in
of
his
Taylor Swift.
reputation era.
I'm trying to think.
Please, we're not doing Taylor
Nah,
Time today.
I'm stuck in 1989.
Copped a bit of hate from Taylor Time last week.
I'm stuck in 1989. Yeah, with the studio burnt down by Mahatma Gandhi and Taylor Swift fans alike last week. I don't know what my niche would be. Probably Arctic monkeys at the moment, or something stupid and useless.
Mine would be LeBron James.
LeBron James.
I don't think anyone's done LeBron James yet on Hard Quiz.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Got a sponsor on the podcast, Hard Quiz. If you're out
No,
there.
but So Tom, you don't meet. They do all your briefing before the show and everything. Like say safety briefing. Got makeup done. Never had makeup done in my entire life. I look good. Like if I was rich enough,
good.
Damn, I look good.
if I win $200 million in lotto this week, I'm gonna have a full-time makeup artist right there. Done. All right, full-time makeup artist.
What do they even
full-time
do
personal
for a
chef.
guy for makeup?
Just like matte finish around like the top and just sort of even out the color.
We used to do it in the production all the time at school. We used to spend like half an hour in the makeup.
I mean, mine was
Johnny
about half an hour
loved his
this way.
makeup.
Yeah, it was great.
And
Blush.
then so do your safety briefing. You meet the contestants, and then you walk down and you're on the stage. The stage is raised quite up, so like if you take even a slight step back, you could just completely stack it behind that, which would make good TV, but also
Not very safe.
Not very safe at all. And then you meet Tom on the show when it films.
Okay.
So the crowd comes in, then the warm-up guy comes
Live
in.
crowd, was that intimidating?
Not really. I guess when you like in front of when
You just had your makeup on, you were feeling confident.
Yeah, I think as a teacher, when I don't know, I was nervous as hell inside, but it wasn't because of the crowd. It's because
You wanted to do
You
well.
wanted to win.
because I was representing the hobby,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. And I was like,
Did you let the community down?
And the annoying thing is that the Royal Australian Mint actually put up on their Facebook, I'm going to be on the episode.
Oh,
And then there was all these bloody haters that just piling on Facebook. I'm just like, yeah. And so like knowing there's those haters have gone down completely now since, but just knowing there's that type of people, well, whilst they're a minority, you can't help to think about the back in the head.
Of course.
That if you bomb this, you
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
you're
don't
going to ruin the hobby. Like people are going to think you're a fraud,
Yeah.
essentially.
We talked about it last week. You will never see a hater doing better than you, so don't even stress
And then
about
Campbell proceeded to hate on Taylor Swift. Kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy there.
it. Wait, so how on earth would I be better than Taylor Swift right now in this stage of my life?
That's literally what you were saying.
Yes.
Taylor Swift at 21, dude, we don't have to get started on where Taylor Swift was at 20.
Irregardless.
She's ruining more relationships.
With Tom, because obviously he has that persona that he comes out and is kind of pretending to be. I don't know if he's pretending to be. He's just, kind of sarcastic and harsh, I guess, is his whole thing on that show. Is that why you don't meet him before? Is you want
Yeah, I think that's it. I think they want that interaction to be as genuine as possible.
Yeah.
And so I guess when I was there, I didn't realize how much I was laughing because the camera just kept cutting back to me, that episode. Even though it was only on for like 15 minutes, it just kept coming back to me.
You're a fan favorite.
I guess I was. And then I was just going back at him. And I didn't realize I was just having a conversation with him. Like he claimed I had a monobrow. I was like, where the hell is the monobrow you speak of? What is wrong with you? And I just had it. I was like, I said, why don't you just take some of my monobrow and put in your bald head of yours?
Oh, did you say that?
So along the lines, there's a video of that. I've put on my. I put on there.
Like he would have loved that. I feel like
He would. Yeah, he loved it. But he's a tall man.
Yeah.
And like I've grown up watching Tom Gleeson because he was on this show called Skid House in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And he played a character called Australian Fast Bowler. So he had like red hair and had his moustache. It was acting like a sort of Dennis Lilly type.
Yeah.
And it'll be scenarios where like, oh, someone's like robbing a bank or someone's choking on a thing, and he'll just come in off a long run and just bowls it at their back or bowls at someone's head to like solve the crime or solve. Hey, thanks, Australian Fast Bowler. But you so grown up knowing who Tom Gleeson is, and then you're being on there, and then you're getting roasted by him because you're just doing a lame hobby according to him. And then but the thing is, I got knocked out first. But I got one question wrong the entire show.
So the format of it, you answer questions on your own hobby, and then you have to answer
Tom's subject.
Okay.
And then first person gets eliminated. Then there's the next round, which is just general knowledge. It's like a speed round.
Yeah.
And that's 1 minute. And you answer questions, and then the one person gets eliminated. And then the hard quiz happens at the end. So head-to-head, penalty shootout kind of style.
Yep.
And you're on your expert topics on that.
Okay.
But because of my one, there's a tie at the end of Tom's round. So me and Pug Lady had to face off. And some Shakespeare question, which I had no idea.
Oh, no.
That pug lover would have known all about Shakespeare, hey?
The lucky that was her second passion is Shakespeare underneath pugs.
I just said I should. And the thing was, when I walked off, I had $100 note in this pocket here.
Yeah.
I was meant to like bribe to Tom, like, oh, here's 100 points for $100. But all I said is I should have paid more attention in English class. And it comes back to me, I guess you've been shortchanged.
Oh, zing.
He probably had that one saved. He was waiting to use that one.
So did you meet him afterwards? And
No, a little bit. So it was like he'll talk to you for like 2 minutes and he'll have a photo as a group stood next to me.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't see Tom again. But the crew were amazing. Like, no wonder Hard Quiz is so successful because the production crew are some of the nicest, kindest people you ever meet.
Yeah,
they're so passionate about the show. They're so passionate about getting the right people. The two people who they organise the contestants in, they're some of the best people and kindest people ever meet. So the whole experience was a dream. And then I guess, I got a phone call about August last year saying, oh, you want to come back on for Battle of the Duds?
Oh,
Yeah, because I finished last.
So it's like so all
the guys that finished last, they choose the people to find interesting.
Same topic?
Same topic. So I can't tell you what happened.
You've already done it.
I've already filmed it.
Oh.
Stay tuned. Can we?
June 19th is the episode.
Was there any
June
zings
19th.
though?
June 19th.
Did you get Tom back with any zings in this one?
I can't tell you.
Oh,
Surely you could just say yes.
This is
or no.
private information.
Private information.
Signed an NDA.
I mean, like, I don't know, Sportsbet might have a market on me. Who knows?
So it's like
I hope you win.
It's like Bachelor in Paradise.
too.
It's like a spin-off of Hard Quiz. It's like,
Yeah, pretty much.
bringing back all the favorites. That
So
might
yeah,
not
they
do it
usually do
well.
like 2 or 3 Battle Duds episodes a season.
Okay.
They're just from the previous seasons, bring them on, and it's like it's pretty funny. It's pretty cool. It was great, and I had a whole bunch of friends from over east who lived. They all flew in. So I had friends flew in from Canberra, flew in from Sydney.
you had
come
more
watch them in
support
Melbourne.
that time.
Yeah, I had about
yeah.
10 people from over east down in Melbourne come watch me. The
Bringing
second
money
part.
jumpers and
Yeah, and it's funny because I also knew a warm up guy as well, which is hilarious.
okay.
I was a lot more confident then.
Good.
So see what happens.
Hopefully
It'll be
pays
fun.
off.
It'll be a fun episode.
July 19,
June 19th.
June 19,
June 19th.
2024, the return.
The Return of the King. No.
Return of the King.
Great. That's a great
It's almost
call.
worth going on
Great
there and
call.
losing first round to get in the Battle of the Duds tournament.
Yeah, but you're also going to be funny as well.
True.
I'm not. No, I'm kidding. Right.
Beef.
No.
No,
True.
you gotta be.
Beef.
I guess you gotta
Oh,
be.
he's saying in
He's
general.
saying you're not funny.
No.
Oh,
I didn't
no.
know.
Campbell.
Stop putting words in my mouth.
Campbell starting shit.
Yeah, like I did with Taylor Swift.
We gaslight him on the Crooked Smile podcast. I wanted to talk about your merch drop
All right. Oh yeah.
because I saw that you've got one coming out today.
Yes, it's weird. I didn't feel like, Coin Collector putting out a merch shop. It's weird, but people have been bugging me for merch for a very, very long time.
Yeah, no.
And the process to get good merch is hard because, like, all right, initially I wanted a screen printed shirt, but then the screen printed people are like, oh no, well, they can do certain colors. Your logo doesn't work with it. I'm just like, you're kidding me. And then I tried to find other people. It's hard. So I found a drop shipping company in over east who are really good. The quality of the print's really good. So I've been sitting on 2 designs for the last year. I've been sitting there. So one's called numismatist. So it's like the definition of it. And then the other definition is someone who spends a lot of money yet still has some of it left. No, someone who spends all their money yet has some of it left. Because remember, you're a coin collector. You're going to spend all your money,
Right.
but you get a coin left, but you spend all your money, but you've got this coin that's rare or something like that.
Double entendre.
So the world ends Armageddon. You become the most powerful person in the colony.
Pretty much because of my
have
rare
been
50 cent
holding
coin.
currency.
That's
Yeah,
it
yeah.
exactly. And then the other shirt design's called Coinchella. So me and another guy, Matt Thompson from Thompson's Coins in Melbourne, we're young guys, but Matt's been in the industry a lot longer than I have. And we have this idea called Coinchella, which is we want to create, because in coin collecting in the US is far bigger than it is here. There's
Right.
like big giant convention centers where hundreds of people from all around the world go in and they do coin expos. So we want to do one in Australia called Coinchella, where we get like a 3-day thing. We get all the big names from all around the world, like the Royal Canadian Mint and all those kinds of people. And it'd be like this big giant coin fest and have live music and
Coin fest.
whatever. But in the meanwhile, so I've designed a Coinchella shirt, but it's like a fantasy music festival shirt. So it's like Coinchella, 14th February, Mint Oval Camp, because there's a big giant cricket oval next to the Mint in Canberra. And then there's all like these band names that have like puns on like coins like the Red Poppies or Rage Against the Change Machine. Or, it's like, so I've created a band shirt as a second shirt and I've made a tote bag and a mug.
I'm
But
trying
yeah,
to think of a name, a band pun with money in it. Hunters and collectors of money.
I mean hunters and collectors, coin hunters and collectors.
Coin hunters and collectors.
Stick to
That's probably better.
podcasting.
Yeah,
Stick to
true,
podcasting.
true.
So I think we're going to do a Coinchella shirt every year. If this one goes well,
Nice.
then next year I'll get it properly designed and get someone else to come and create a pretty good band shirt, like a music festival shirt. But yeah, that's happening this summer.
The Arctic Monies. Nice.
Well, for those of you watching, make sure you check the link in the bio. We'll have a link to Coinchella there.
Get it before it runs out.
Get it before it sells out. What's the quantity? Stock quantity.
It's unlimited. It will have until I decide not to print it
You
anymore.
got to tell them it's like a small number to get.
It's exclusive.
It's
like
uber exclusive.
limited edition.
it's up to my when I decide. It might be end tomorrow. It might end in 4 years' time. Who knows?
And then, is there any other side hustles you've kind of generated from this? I've seen you have your own coin store.
Yeah, I did a coin store launch last year, and I sold
Everything's sold out on.
everything sold in half an hour.
Jeez.
Really?
Yeah, I think I sold like maybe $4,000 worth of stuff in half an hour.
Dedicated fan base. You've got there.
It's a very captive fan base, which I'm very grateful for. My fans my followers are second to none. They're really great, passionate people. But yeah, no, the coin shop happened, and I've done a lot of sponsored content. So I've done work for Australia Post, eBay, the Perth Mint. I've been did this video for them last year. There's a couple other businesses as well in there. So it's been a crazy journey, which I never expected would have happened in the first place. As just a little humble, not little, big high school teacher.
Whoa.
Who, I can say it, you guys can't. Yeah, and I think it's been crazy. I'm really grateful for the support I've had. None of this is possible without, the followers I've had and the messages I've got from people. And even people just come out of nowhere just to, someone messaged me and said, hey, I'm in Japan. I know you've been looking for this coin. How about I get this one? I'll send it to you. Like, people just send me stuff.
Awesome.
Like, it's just surreal. But I think the more surreal thing is people spotting you on the street and shouting your name.
So have you had that a bit?
Oh, across the country. Every city I've been to in Australia. In Adelaide, some ladies just shouted my name across the terminal at the airport. I thought I was going to get arrested. Melbourne, I was in Collingwood. I was sitting on Swan Street having dinner with my mate. Guy drives past. History of money. I was like, what?
Were you wearing the hoodie?
No, I wasn't. No. No, that's the weird thing. At none of those times, I was wearing a hoodie. In Canberra, in July, I was like hopping off a plane from Sydney, and the guy's like, oh, you're the History of Money guy. I was sitting behind you on the plane. I was like, thanks for making that sound really creepy. I appreciate that. Sydney, I was at the RBA conference in July, and they're like the head of information at the RBA said, we're fully aware of you. We know what you do. And I didn't put any reference, so I just put like my school I work at and what I'm here for this conference.
Oh, so you went as an educator?
As a teacher, because there's an economics teachers conference. And I've gone there and
with old Philip Lowe.
Yeah, there's a photo of me and Philip Lowe in the
really?
in the bio if you have a look there. And then like the head of information at RBA is like, yeah, we know what you do. It's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I know it's a good thing.
We know why you're really here.
Yeah. So no, it's weird. It's very surreal that people, like strangers, just spot you and just I can still walk along, go to shops and no one disturb me and whatever, but it's not that level of fame. But
yeah,
to have people just sort of come up to you and say, I know who you are, or like, thank you for what you're doing.
Cool.
It's really cool. And I never thought that would ever happen.
When it comes to collector's items and rarest coins or whatever, what is I guess the mother loader? What is your favorite?
Yeah,
your magnum opus of coins.
What's the LeBron James of coins?
LeBron James of coins.
The Michael Jordan of coins.
Oh, it's the 1930 proof penny. So 1930 was just after, I guess, the Great Depression, and the demand for coins in general was just But the mint was still operating, and so there was a small amount of regular 1930 pennies were minted, and they were worth quite a bit. Like if you do find one, you're going to get at least $15,000-$20,000 for it.
Yeah,
even in the worst condition. But a proof penny. So proof coins they're double struck to create this like sort of polished like finish. Okay. And only 6 of them were ever minted. And I think 3 of them are in government hands and 3 of them in private hands. Something like that. A very small amount are in private hands.
Yeah.
That coin would sell for about $1 million now.
And you've got it.
No.
What's the rarest one that you've?
So I don't have anything that's crazy rare because I'm very.
Rare.
That's not really. This one you could probably get for about $150, $120, depending on the condition. It's fine,
Right.
but it's the note's huge. It's like honestly,
it's almost non-practical.
Well, compare that to a normal 100. Well, hold on, that's Singapore dollars. There you go.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Look at the size difference between the two.
And paper as well. I still
You've
can't
brought
believe
us
that
a
people-
gift for our podcast.
Thank you so much.
It's not your sponsorship. No.
That was going to be our first sponsorship money.
It's going to be our second ever present.
I can't believe
No,
that.
I'll give you a present. Actually, hold on.
No, it's all right.
No, hold on. I do have something. I do have something.
You've guilt tripped.
Hold on.
No.
Yeah. Hold on. Where's it gone? Oh, that's loud. No, not that. Where's it gone? No. I actually did have it coming here with the intention to give it to you guys.
This is a 5-cent coin. I'm going to cry.
No. It's from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank.
No.
It's a new note. It is a banknote with Viv Richards on it. So one for you.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you so much.
One for Johnny. There you go.
Beautiful. Sir Viv.
So the Queen used to be on their banknotes, but now the Queen's passed. This is a new $2 note they released, and it's got Sir Viv on it.
And so they got they don't know. There's a void that's there since the Queen died. They're like, oh no, who we're going to put on the Queen? Viv Richards.
What country is
Makes
the
sense.
Eastern Caribbean?
So if you look at the back, there's the islands on the right hand side. So it's like Antigua, Barbuda. That's the only one I can know from top. St. Lucia, I think.
What's the inflation rate
Barbados.
Pretty low.
So $2.
No, it's about, I think one Aussie is about 2 Eastern Caribbean dollars or $1.70 Eastern Caribbean.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
No
I
worries.
really
Very
appreciate
much.
it.
We'll have
That's
to
awesome.
display these
Yeah, there you go. Good. You have a little wall of merch that people have given you
Yes.
and stuff.
We're
But
building
yeah.
it slowly.
But I don't have anything that's really rare. Like my favorite note would be, my favorite coin in 2012, every year the mint releases a mint set. In 2012, they released a 50-cent coin, but it's like completely colored. So like the kangaroo, the emu, all the coats of arms are completely colored.
I've never.
And it's a beautiful coin, and that coin alone is worth about $180. And the set only came out for about $29. So
It's funny, this idea of
money worth more than face
yeah,
value.
exactly. Buying and selling money.
And I think
for
people
more than
who
it's actually worth.
and the biggest comment I get on my videos is like, "Oh, $2 is worth $2, and $1 is worth $1." I was like, I just don't bother arguing. It's like you buy wine, you buy art, you buy sneakers. It's in the same thing. It's just a collective thing, which there are a lot of collectors who demand the product. The price therefore goes higher. That's it. And if there's no demand, then the price stays what it is or goes down. That's just a fact of the matter. So yeah, I don't usually engage with arguments with those types of people because it's just like show your ignorance and just make a fool of yourself in front of everyone in the internet.
Yeah, I hate argumentative people. They just suck. So financial literacy, I really wanted to go back to that and ask a bit about that. What is the biggest misconception in financial literacy today? If you could just, I know there'd be a lot, but just I wanted to give a bit of educational value to the listeners.
I think the biggest misconception is people think other people know about money. Like this is the general meaning. People overestimate the level of financial literacy because people are afraid to talk about financial literacy. People are afraid to have honest discussions with their family and their friends and others around them about saying, I don't know about this tax rate. I don't know how to manage my super. I don't know if I'm putting my savings in the right place.
There's a lot of pride involved with money,
exactly
with
people,
investing and stuff. People
not just that, but people are afraid to talk about how much they earn.
Yeah.
And that's also thing. Like I'm not afraid to talk about how much I earn because for me as a teacher in the Catholic system, the salaries are publicly available in the EBA. Why do I need to hide for it? Businesses, but also corporates are also guilty for it because they don't want people to talk about their salaries to other colleagues because they think it'll create discontent. No, if people are able to be transparent about the salaries, you're going to get better productivity because you're going to pay them their fair worth. You get better productivity. Your profitability is going to increase as well at the same time. So it stems down from the most basic part. People don't want to talk about how much they earn. People don't want to talk about not knowing how much their super is. People don't want to talk about what credit card should I get to earn the most points or anything like that. So because of the lack of discussion that happens, we overestimate our ability to think we know about finances until something, not catastrophic, but something changes in our lives that we actually need to openly talk about it. And most people won't actually openly talk about their finances until they probably go see a mortgage broker, for example, when they're buying a house.
Interesting.
Or they get into so much debt that they need to actually seek help and talk to a debt counselor or go talk to the bank to ask for help. So that becomes the biggest issue. We tend to think that we know more about money than we actually do.
And talking about the barriers of entry towards that in the educational institutions, for young people, where would you recommend they go? Because right now they can't get it from there when it comes to improving their financial literacy. Online, books, videos. What would you recommend for people to increase their knowledge?
The starting point is the Money Smart website. This is federal. It's actually an excellent resources because the federal government's actually doing something. It's just not putting it in the right place. So moneysmart.gov.au gives you the best starting point possible from that. And this one, as ironic as it sounds, The Barefoot Investor is an excellent book. That's also another great starting point. So Scott Pape's book is really, really good in terms of breaking down the basics, setting up with a basic structure for you to move forward, how to budget, where to put your money in, how to manage your accounts. A lot of people generally have one bank account and just put that money in one bank account and then it becomes an open pool of things. Whereas, some people split their accounts into bills and emergency and holiday and all that kind of thing. So all the different money has different purposes. So he's really good he separates it into buckets, for example. So Scott Pape's book's really good. And there's a whole bunch of great podcasts out there. The Get Rich Slow podcast is run by my friend Natasha and also another friend of mine, Anna Christina. They run the podcast with a investment company called Perla. So they are a platform where you can invest money in small amounts and it removes those barriers to entry to investing. But they talk about how getting rich is not a quick get rich quick scheme. It's actually a long-term process which build on consistency, discipline, and I guess compounding is a thing at the end. So Get Rich Slow podcast is something that I really recommend. And any of those not influencers, but no, they're people who are experts in the field and they know what they're talking about. Go follow any of those people that appear as a guest on that podcast as well.
Yeah.
And
Like the history of money.
not me, not financial literacy. Do not follow me for history of money. But when you get into coin collecting, follow me. If you want to follow about financial literacy, go and follow those people who use those resources.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think podcasting is obviously the sensible evolution of investing books and stuff like that. And there's a few that I've been trying to listen to on my investing journey. That was my New Year's resolution. So I did buy my first stock the other day, which is probably bad. It's probably bad that it took me this long. That's the other thing. I feel like not enough people would be.
Well, how old are you?
Right?
21?
21, yeah.
Well, it took me 30 till I bought my first stock.
There you go.
So, but my money's in property, so I was like, okay, I didn't feel a need to.
True.
All our situations are different. Like if I tell you, I appear on the Get Rich Slow podcast. That's probably going to be out this week.
Yeah.
I talk about my own financial journey and how
You're blowing up this week. Lots of podcasts.
the podcast, just doing the podcast circuit, you know.
Yeah.
No, I talk about my financial journey because I went through a period of very bad mental health, and so our individual journeys are unique, and therefore we shouldn't feel the need to compare to other people about when we're buying our first stocks or when we're buying our first house or how much money we have in our super. Comparison breeds contempt.
Yeah.
So what you really need to do is focus on your own journey and what are the things that you need to do next to secure your own financial security.
Well, comparison is what's, as you said before, stops people being transparent about what they're, because they're worried about being compared to the next guy. Yeah.
I think you need to be around people who are happily talk about their situations without being judged or being compared to.
Yeah.
That we need to recognize that we are at each individual journeys and situations, and that's the way it is. That's it.
When it comes to the future of money, there's a lot of up in the air stuff about a global currency. Does that sort of thing kind of scare you? Do you think it will ever happen?
The Eurozone on steroids.
I think what we need to look at is we go back and what the purpose of the Eurozone is to create one part of the whole common market thing, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is to have a common currency to work, you need to be in the same part of the business cycle, right? So you can't have Germany being in a boom and Greece being in a recession,
Right, yeah.
Because the monetary policy is the one that maintains the value of the currency.
That's what's usually happens, right? They
Exactly.
get
But
dragged
then
down
you're going to create not two-speed economies, you're creating multi-speed economies.
Yeah.
And whilst most of that Eurozone are in that similar level of economic development, the stage of the economy is very different. We know that Italy's economy is not going as well as Germany's economy. We know that Greece's economy is not going well as Latvia's economy or Malta's economy. And so one of the biggest flaws of the Eurozone is that whatever works in one region may not be working in another region, even though they're stuck to the same monetary policy, they're stuck to the same thing.
Yeah.
And also part of it, you're also going to have free mobility of labour as well, which is happening in the Eurozone, but it's happening, there's still restrictions in certain parts as well. So a global currency probably wouldn't work at all until every country in the world
It's all the same.
it's all the same. There's no barriers to movement of labour. There's no barriers to freedom of resources.
It would have to be cashless as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Whole lot of issues
But
there.
it's a very I think a lot of people, when people bring up ideas like this, they don't think about the practicalities of the ideas.
Well, thinking about monetary policy at the same
That's
time,
it.
having that'd be impossible to have.
It
everyone
is
on the
literally,
same-
unless we go maybe 20,000 years down the track where every economy's hit its maximum.
We live in a utopia where
I don't know. It's
hard
a
if
lot-
you're having a boom. If you're having a boom in having a boom in Europe and you decide to implement contractionary monetary policy in Africa, there's still
still in recession. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, for example, if you look at the Asian financial crisis in 1998, Indonesia needed bailing out. The rupiah fell by 50% in that very short space of time in 98.
Yeah.
And the IMF were going to bail them out and said, cool, you follow these instructions. They gave the same direction. So Malaysia's like, we've got low economic growth at the moment and you want us to implement contractionary monetary policy. Malaysia actually recovered quicker than Indonesia in that sort of five-year period after the GFC, after the AFC. From there, we're not going to talk what happened because Malaysia's probably not in the best state that it is at the moment. But you got to understand that different economic situations need different economic solutions.
yeah.
So
Each to their
a
own.
global common currency is very, very, very unlikely from my viewpoint.
Wild.
Interesting.
So the future for you, what's in store? Where do you see yourself moving forwards with the history of money, with starting your journey on financial literacy?
I think that's a big thing I've been asking myself over the last few weeks. I think, where do I see myself? Firstly, my profession as a teacher, and what can I do as a teacher to influence financial literacy discussion and I guess programs and stuff. So I think I'm in discussion with my current school to really look at something that is tangible. There's talk about introducing a financial literacy class in 2025, which is very promising. So hopefully that gets off the ground.
Would that be pre-WACE or would it be?
Yeah, pre-WACE as an elective. So it'll be chosen elective, and hopefully we can do that. And essentially, a lot of people don't realize there's actually year 12 economics. There's an economics general class. Subject.
Yeah.
So there's economics 8 there's economics general. Economics general year 11 is actually completely financial literacy.
So you'd probably learn more practical skills from that than you would from.
Than actually from, learning about elasticity.
The only problem is that would probably
Love
be better in year
elasticity,
12 where people drop a study period and can pick it up. Because
That's
in
it.
year
I
11,
think
a lot of
that-
people do 6
That's
ATAR.
exactly. So, and that's something I want to bring into because I don't know if actually any school or many schools at all teach economics general at the moment. They teach BME general, but I don't teach economics general. But 11 economics general syllabus is an amazing syllabus that no one touches. So within my perspective is that's what I do within what my current frame of work is. The long-term part of it, I'm just going to do little things here and then. So it goes. My focus this year on History of Money is telling stories.
Yep.
I'm moving away from talking about coin values and stuff. I'm talking about stories that involve money, whether it be about the lack of use of cash, or talking about the people in our banknotes, or talking about the process of designing coins. So hopefully, I'm in process of doing some work with the Perth Mint this year as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and reach out to the Royal Australian Mint. I've already got connections with the Royal Canadian Mint as well. So I'm looking to go to Canada at some point.
Nice.
Hopefully this year, if not next year.
You're going to vlog it.
Yeah, and so, looking at transition to YouTube. And then let's see how it goes. If the merch blows up. Medium term is also writing a book. And then
Busy man.
Yeah.
A lot of things going on.
Yeah, a lot. I just need to invest in the right equipment and all that kind of thing. And then maybe start me and my mate Matt wants to start a podcast as well.
If you need any tips.
Yep. Then I can get Robbie
Talk to
be
producer.
the producer Robbie.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea. But it's a lot going on, but just making sure what can I do with my own resources at the moment and feel sort of fulfilled. I don't want to burn myself out, because I sort of burnt myself out to the end of last year because I just didn't know what direction I was heading to. So the last couple of months being on break and really thinking about where I am and where I want to be has been really refreshing. And so, taking a new direction with History of Money, talking about stories rather than this is worth something. I think people are sort of over that content now. I'm over that content, to be honest. But, and probably also start my own my coin collecting consultancy service as well. So let's say I got I got about 10 or 12 DMs a day. People asking me, what my coin's worth. I'm just like, it takes a lot of time.
You got to monetize. Yeah,
you got to monetize it. Yeah. I tried to start a subscription service, but it flopped completely.
So like a coins only fans.
Don't say that. But like someone can call me and say, hey, my auntie's left me a whole bunch of coins and notes. Can you come have a look at it? It's like, cool. I can charge people X amount of dollars per hour.
It's like Antiques Roadshow.
It gets in the way, but then I can say, cool. All right, this is junk. This is worth selling. I'll set you up with this guy who'll sell that for you. Or this is a process you can sell on eBay or on a Facebook group. And so it's sort of like...
Could be a TV show on
sort of like a brokerage service, I guess, but for coin and banknote collecting.
Kandiah's Consultancy, both with a K.
Yeah, just don't add another K after that.
Yeah.
Don't
registration.
Don't put coins in the middle with a K in that. That'd be
That's coins.
that's bad.
Kandiah's coins consultant.
Yeah, don't. I told you not to go there, and you still went there.
I said it was C's. CCC.
Oh no.
All right. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Thanks, Campbell. Appreciate
Well,
it.
is there anything you wanted to plug? Where can we find you?
Yeah,
What's going on?
Yeah, so you can find me on TikTok and Instagram. So Instagram is the history of _money, because someone took the history of money ages ago. No, it's bad. But on TikTok, I'm the history of money. And you'll find me on there, and you'll find all the latest news about coin and banknote collecting. And then I'll be on Hard Quiz on ABC on June 19th.
Tune in.
Yeah.
Tune in for that one.
Very exciting.
Well, thank you so much for giving us your time and being here and sharing your story and all of your
It's great.
Great knowledge.
Conversation.
Yeah, thank you. This was actually great fun. Really appreciate you having me on.
No, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Outro music.
That's it. Outro music.
Come on, Rob, you're slacking.
You're not going to hire Rob now.
Camera boy Rob. You're in the sin bin
boys,
now.
that was brilliant.
Thank you so much.
That was great.